Welcome to the KidLit Deconstruction Zone podcast. In each episode, we'll mine children's books for tools to fill your author toolbox. Let's dig in so you can build a great kid's story.
Episode 1: Tools for Finding Great Ideas. Hey everyone, welcome to the KidLit Deconstruction Zone podcast. My name is Melissa Mwai, and I'm the author of several children's books, including A Puerto Rican Childhood and I Can Make a Friend. And I'm here with my friends, Morgan and Rona.
Hi, I'm Morgan Lau. I'm a freelance visual storyteller, and you can follow me at Green Girl Blue Planet on Instagram.
I'm Rona Sherdan. I'm a children's author and a book coach for storytellers who write for children of any age and in every genre. In today's episode, we're going to discuss what makes a great story idea.
The tools.
There are many elements that make a great story, but today we have mined 3 tools that may help you with your writing: hook, kid relatability, and creative passion. Hook can be anything that grabs your attention. It hooks you. Perennial topics like the first day of school, making friends, dinosaurs, unicorns, potty training, aging grown-ups, they are the constant events in our lives. Hooks can also be interesting topics like tough conversations, humorous facts about underwear, or maybe a biography about an interesting person. So when you revise your manuscript, think about what are the hooks in your story.
When evaluating your ideas, look at the kid relatable moments and experiences. That's another tool you can use. And this varies based on the age group that you're targeting. So if you're writing a picture book, this may mean that desire of, well, what is it like to be a big kid? Or how do you make a friend? But as your stories grow with your readers, it might mean more like navigating family relationships or figuring out where you fit in the world. Writers can also use their language to connect to a child's emotions, which makes it kid relatable and draws the reader in. So, lyrical language sparks a sense of wonder, funny moments make children laugh, and keeping your words brief and punchy keep a reader's attention in a fast moving world.
The final tool is passion. Anytime you're working on a project, you're going to need to view it time and time again over a period of months. It needs to be fun or important to you to keep you motivated. Creative passion is that excitement you have as a creator for that project. For the author, that joy will come through in the text. For the illustrator, it will be seen through their art.
The books.
Our first book today is a picture book. It's called The Talk. The Talk is written by Alicia D. Williams, and it's illustrated by Brianna Mukadari Uchendo.
The Talk is a book that deals with the tough topics of race, racism, and police brutality. The audience would be Black and brown children and their parents, who must have difficult conversations about how these children are often viewed by society. These conversations happen often, but are rarely talked about outside of the household. Unless you are a Black or brown family, you may not realize that the talk is occurring. In the book, we see a loving family that recognizes the challenges that occur as their son gets older. Jay's parents have the talk with him to explain the complex topic of systemic racism. They emphasize that he is not at fault for these negative views, and that, like all children, he deserves to be treated with respect, but must be aware that there is also a level of danger involved. Going back to our 3 tools and relating them to this book, there's the hook. Jay can't wait to grow up so he can look and act like a big kid. It's kid relatable. Jay loves his new grown-up look. The text says, "My hoodie makes me feel safe. I plug earbuds into my ears, cover my head, nod to the beat, open the door to meet my friends." And finally, passion. Williams and Uchendo show us through their visuals and text that the grown-up look seems safe, but really isn't. It's just the opposite. The text says, "Son, Hold on, wait a second. The urgency in the parent's voice leads us to the time for the talk. The illustrator used her 13-year-old brother as the inspiration for the talk and for her art. The passion of the author and illustrator is clear here. Although the book is aimed at Black and Brown children, the talk is a book that all children should read and be aware of. Learning about this tough topic and conversation is a first step to protecting our children and should spark understanding, empathy, and the desire for change.
The next book we'll be talking about is a chapter book. And the one I selected for this episode is called A Brief History of Underpants by Christine Van Zandt and illustrations by Harry Briggs. So this book's hook is all about underpants. And for readers who love humor, or maybe reluctant readers, and even those who are interested in nonfiction, all of those elements appear in this book. In terms of relatability, underpants is just something we all deal with every day. And even just, thinking about the word makes me smile. And I know that for kids who are curious and want to know more about, the things that you wear for fashion, this takes a topic and makes it in a very approachable manner. And then in terms of passion, both Christine and Harry, they bring the details and they balance that with the humor, both visually and in the text. The puns, the jokes, the kind of quirky art. You see all of that come together in a really fun and informational story. So, digging into the chapter itself, I chose the medieval chapter for this example. The hook is both the time period and the people that we're focusing on. So in this case, we talk about knights and princesses, and the knight has quilted padded underpants, and that's in the text, which then is reflected in this really funny drawing that Harry Briggs did. It just makes you pause and makes you laugh a bit when you look at it. And then the princess is the other character in this chapter. And we learned that princesses wear long undergarments that looked a lot like nightgowns. Laundry day is a battle. Just learning how to do your own laundry, how to fold your clothes, how to separate, all of those things might feel like a battle because it's a new task. And the last thing is passion. And I think that is evident in all the sensory details and the accurate but brief, punchy language like the quilted underpants. That provides a way for both the artist and the text to really show that. It gives a picture for the kids to latch onto who might want to learn more, and they can do some research on their own.
Okay, so today's middle grade pick is Star Child by E.B. Zaboy, and it's a biographical constellation. And that's literal because in this book, the author uses concrete poetry. And here's an example of that. Look at that. Star Child. For Great Hook, Star Child captivated me because it's about Octavia Butler. And she's a critically acclaimed science fiction author. And so I wanted to know more about her. She's written The Parable of the Sower. She's written Kindred, which was my introduction. For kid relatable, touching back on the concrete poetry, it allows poetry to be accessible to children because it's very creative. And it also links back to who Octavia Butler is as a person, and just that her first name is Estelle, and Estelle means star. So I thought that was interesting. And I think young children, probably like upper elementary, lower middle grade age, may be interested in a book like this because Octavia Butler was born during a period where there was a lot of turmoil in the world. And in some ways we still experience that. So I think that makes her relatable as a young person trying to follow their dreams and also experiencing, chaos around them too. And for creative passion, the author, E.B. Zaboy, personally gravitated towards Octavia Butler because she read about her when she was in college, and she had this amazing experience in meeting her. And at a time where you could pick up the phone and ask for someone's phone number, she was able to do that, and Octavia Butler answered. Like, I thought that was incredible. So I found this book to be really interesting, and it's a short read. So it's probably under 120 pages, which is really accessible, again, for young readers.
The book I chose to talk about strong ideas in a young adult novel is Hey Kiddo by Jarrett J. Krasaska. And this book is a graphic novel memoir that tells the story of Jarrett's life as a teen growing up in a family who struggles with all sorts of addictions. And this book really, really struck me as something that would be kid relatable. Not, even if even if you're a teen or a young adult who doesn't have a family who has these types of struggles, Jarrett also talks about how family can be complicated as you're growing up. This book itself was a passion project for him, something that, based on interviews, he's always wanted to talk about. And he even got the encouragement of his mother, who was dealing with the majority of the addiction issues, who said, go ahead and tell the story. And that's a really, real powerful moment. It's not in the text, but he does include this backstory in an author's note. And knowing that context makes it really like hit home in a way that, if this were a fictional novel, it hits differently because it's a true story, or at least his version of what happened as a teen. Now we're going to dig into the text using some of the tools we talked about. In this scene, our hook is the emotional moment. Jarrett is purchasing a Mother's Day card. And it's very complicated because his mother has been in and out of the picture in rehabilitation centers for years. Where the kid relatable moment comes in is that Jarrett is struggling with, how do you keep this relationship with someone who has been incarcerated or in rehabilitation centers. There's not a card that says, hey, happy Mother's Day, you missed all of my childhood. That doesn't exist. And even if you're a teen who hasn't experienced that, the dynamic of what it can mean to have a complicated relationship with your parent is very relatable. As for the passion, it's reflected in the art style. Jarrett chose to make this a graphic novel. That in of itself is a lot of work, and it invites readers who may or may not sit down and read a novel about this type of situation. And the other thing that stands out to me is the color palette of the novel. It's done in these gray muted tones. It works because it's a memory, right? And when we think back, this kind of gives you a feeling of this is in the past, but it's also dealing with some heavy topics. So to have something that would have been bright or very like superhero comic-y wouldn't fit the style of the story. The homework. Here's your homework assignment. Evaluate some stories to see if you can identify their hooks, kid appeal, and whether or not you're passionate about that concept. Whether you're writing a picture book or YA, grab your writing tools and get to work.
If you have any book suggestions for us to deconstruct in future episodes, please leave a comment below. Thank you for listening to the KDZ podcast, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe.